Hello, everyone, and welcome to another episode of Dream Oracle for You. I am your host, Sarah, and of course, we have my wonderful co host, Biljana, on the call. This is episode 29, and a very exciting episode, and it's my pleasure to introduce not one, but two lovely guests that we have today, Alexis and Urania. Is that how you say your name?
Yeah, that's
Yeah,
right.
perfect. Good. From the Innerverse, sorry, I messed that up. It's the Journey Through the Innerverse podcast, also a podcast about dreams. So I'm just so excited for what today will bring. And with that, I'm going to ask Biljana to welcome us to the call.
Yeah, I'm super excited for this. Because you guys are enthusiastic about dreams as much as we are, so it's really good to have a chat and then share ideas and talk about whatever interests you guys. And yeah, so super excited as every episode because we get to meet new people. And yeah, so before we get into you guys introduce yourselves, I've been dabbling in a little bit of astrology, like for myself and stuff, and do a bit of reading. And I didn't realize that the your moon sign influences your dreams. If that is that correct?
hmm
Yeah, yeah. So yeah, that was quite interesting just to read that because I never thought about that. And yeah, so I would love to hear more about that and just anything astrology based. So yeah, um, yeah. If you guys want to introduce yourselves, Alexis, do you want to go first?
Sure. My name is Alexis, and I have been a traveler, a dream worker since I was about 3 years old. I started lucid dreaming. Very interesting beginning to my journey on Earth. But I have been dreaming since very intensely. I went through a an extreme amount of escapism from childhood into teenhood, and now as an I've learned to integrate and learn to, incorporate dream work into my day to day with psychology and mysticism and just kind of like guiding me towards whatever's next.
Cool.
Hi, I'm Urania, and yeah, I've been in this whole like realm of spirituality, astrology, tarot, and dreams, but dreams was always kind of in the background, kind of. But yeah, I've been in this particular realm since I would say 2005 was like my first spiritual awakening. And it wasn't until maybe a couple years ago that I really started like paying attention to my dreams, to the fact of like writing them and working rituals around them and just really paying attention to them in an intentional way. And I mean, within a couple years, a short amount of time, I had like incredible healing and transformation with some things that I was going through in my life. And I just wanted to talk about it. And I feel like the more I talked about it and I would show up live on Instagram, people would start telling me their dreams. And then that's how Alexis and I met and just naturally started having the conversations every week together, which then ended up being a podcast. So yeah, I'm really excited to talk to more people who are really passionate about dreams because it feels like this community, like dreams and just the interest and fascination with dreams is becoming more and more popular, I would say. And maybe I'm just starting to really connect more and see like what's really out there as far as like dreams and the people that work with them and talk about them and study them.
So exciting. Beautiful. And it definitely resonates with me with the healing. I too have like, you wake up from a dream and you're like I think I've talked about this one on the podcast before, but one that stands out for me is like having a dream where I'm just sitting down with an ex who like cheated on me and did terrible things. But I was having like a normal conversation with him, and it prompted me when I woke up. I'm like, would I actually be able to sit with him and have that sort of conversation? And so it prompted, thoughts of forgiveness and being able to overcome and fully heal from that. So yeah, that definitely resonates with me. And I love that you guys found each other through just you being excited about dreams and posting on Instagram. That's super, super cool.
I feel super,
Yeah.
super blessed that we met through Instagram, because it was just such a weird like coincidence. Like I don't like we followed each other, and I don't know if I interacted too much with her posts, and then I came home from work one day and she was live, and I just joined and was sharing my experiences, and it was really nice to find her and then find the community of dreamers, because I always did it, but it wasn't something that like people talked about, and if they did, it was kind of like a push under the rug thing. And I'm finding that how important it is to integrate that nighttime unconscious space with your waking, and how, like you said, how healing it is. It really, I feel like it's a lifelong gift that we just as a society neglect, and that's the reason why we do this, is to really bring it to the forefront and try to inspire some people to look within their dreams too.
Yeah, absolutely. I definitely agree with that. And I think I actually put out a short recently where I said that dreams are an opportunity every night to have an 8-hour therapy session.
I love that.
Very true.
I love
true.
that. Because you think of the aspect of like the escapism aspect, where you're kind of like making a fantasy world for yourself and enjoying it, but then you actually tune in to what's being created and acknowledging all the things and making conscious decisions that are still in line with what the dream has already given you. And it's like you can go really deep, like very deep. Urania and I just shared 2 dreams this past week, and they were short, but the amount of depth within them and the symbolism, and just like it's so eye-opening.
Yeah, it's so true. Like for me, after starting this podcast with Sarah, and same thing, we met like through different channels. I think she was watching podcasts.
Yeah, you were a guest on Rock the Ripple with Narita McInnes, and just dreams started to come up, and I literally paused the episode. I'm like, I need to talk to this lady about dreams, and emailed her to invite her on. She was actually going to be my first guest, and by the end of the episode, it just ended up being my co-host. It's like, you gotta be my co-host.
It's so organic. It's so beautiful. Yeah. I love that. The opportunities are just crazy.
Yeah, and then since then, like Sarah and I just having conversations, it's opened me up to talk about it with people I probably wouldn't normally talk about deep and meaningful things, like family, just random people down the street, like, what did you dream about last night?
Yeah.
Because everyone dreams at some point, so why not?
How has that conversation with your family gone? Because I'll tell you, my dad had asked me to interpret one of his dreams, and I sent him the interpretation from my point of view, and he didn't even look at it. Like, he didn't open the text, he didn't look at it. So it was like one of those things where I might have kind of hit a little bit too deep, and it kind of ended there.
It's actually been really good. It's opened my eyes up to, especially like my grandma, like a lot of the older people, they don't talk about their past life, like their earlier life, because it's been quite tough. So it's just opened up a different way to have conversations, because it's not super personal, because the dream space, because it's like a fantasy space. So it's not like you're not directly talking about what's happened to you. So it's kind of like it's a different way to break the ice in a conversation. Yeah. So it's been really good and refreshing, breaking those barriers down.
Yeah,
that's fantastic.
Well, it's interesting too, because like once you start doing dream work and start like paying attention to your dreams regularly, you then see how intimate and like personal it can be. So I think that's interesting too. But I've always had people pretty much eager to share their dreams. It's just like, with the interpretation, sometimes that could be like with family, it definitely could be kind of tricky. What I've learned from sharing with my mother pretty much is I ended up learning with my grandmother, who transitioned like 20 years ago. We actually had the same recurring car theme, which is a car. And so my mom was just randomly looking through one of my dream dictionaries, and she was like, "Oh, I've never dreamt about teeth falling out, but I always dream about like cars, riding cars, driving cars." And I was like, "What?" And then she mentioned the same thing about my grandmother too, because my grandmother she was really into dreams and journaled about her dreams. And so it's kind of cool to see that connection and kind of follow the patterns through the family line.
Yeah, absolutely. What does the car dreams mean for you and your family? Because it's personal, right?
Yeah, I don't know what it means for, honestly, for my mom and my grandmother. I can, at some point, I'm going to read my grandmother's journals. That's a whole nother saga. But for me, my birth name is actually Portia, and my mom named me after the car because she really wanted the car, but couldn't afford it. So she's like, "Oh, I'm going to name, my daughter Portia," and then then I can say I have one. And she was 20 when she had me, so that's a whole thing. And when I got into dream work, it was at an interesting time where I was really breaking through some intense belief systems, also just feeling more confident within myself and my identity and my purpose in life, because my mom has always kind of downplayed my profession, as I'm a professional astrologer, I'm a tarot reader, and now I guess you could say dream worker. And she just looks at it as a hobby. So she's always been like, "Oh, when you get your real job," and and so forth. And so my mother, she was I would say, the hardest person to really like stand up to and own who it is that I am. And it's kind of been that way my whole life, even though I fought against that a lot as a teenager. Just, I have an Aquarius sun and I've always been really rebellious. But still deep within me, I wanted to prove myself to my mother. And so the dreams, when I started getting into dream work and I was in that point of my life, I started having recurring dreams about cars. When I really started paying attention, I can't really say if they were a recurring theme before I started really focusing on my dreams. But yeah, and so it really did symbolize just my life direction. If I'm in control of the car, sometimes it would be my mom's car that she has in waking life. Sometimes it would be my car. Sometimes she would be driving. But it definitely, basically, that was what it symbolized. And by the end of like the series of dreams and all this uncovering of myself, I literally changed my birth name to Urania. And that was a whole thing with my mother. But when it came down to changing it, she accepted it, although she still calls me Porsche. But yeah, so it was a whole transformative experience of my entire identity that had been happening before I started the dream work. And then when I started the dream work intentionally, I got all of this symbolism, and the car was like the main driving force, pun intended. So it was incredible. And then after that, like probably a year after that, that's when my mom was like, "Oh yeah, I have recurring dreams of cars all the time." And I was like, "Wait, what?" So there's some things to kind of unravel and dig into at some point.
Yeah, no,
Wow.
you kind of were hitting on the thoughts that I was having. When I think of cars, and for me, it's funny. I have dreams where I can't find my car or my shoes typically.
Mm.
But we had a guest on, it was episode 24 with Trevor Wee, and it was a really simple thing that he said, which was simply, well, what does that symbol mean to you? And it's like a simple question to like ask yourself when you're thinking. And so for me, like a car represents like a mode of travel, or, just a way to go on your journey. And so when you talked about finding dreams and taking control of your life, where you said sometimes you were driving the car and other times you were driving your mom's car. So to me, it kind of represents a little bit of a struggle or a battle between, steering your life basically. So I felt like you definitely are hitting on, I mean, of course, completely personal, and, your interpretation, my interpretation doesn't necessarily mean anything, but for me, it kind of represented that.
Yeah. Awesome.
Yeah, that's so true. Yeah, I like that. Well, why'd you pick Urania?
So my business, I guess you could say, which didn't start out as a business, it was just me sharing on Instagram. But it was Urania, or it is Urania Universe. And I chose Urania. I came across her. She's a muse, a Greek muse of astronomy, fortune telling, astrology, essentially of the stars. And I had just graduated from college in Colorado, and I studied astronomy and physics. So that's like my formal background. And then after that, I got back into astrology. And so I've always been holding space for like science and spirituality. And so it was just, I just saw that and something resonated. I was just like, this is me, you know, like when I saw it. And that was in 2016. And that's when I got on Instagram and started just sharing them because I wasn't in school anymore. So I was like, oh, I'm just going to share all of these things. Like, this is what I'm really into. I'm going to like really study astrology. And I was doing tarot. I didn't really know, like I initially wanted to go to grad school, but I didn't really know at that point because I was burnt out because I graduated college when I was 30. So I just had my Saturn return and all of that drama. And so I was like, okay, like I'm just going to exist and I'm going to just focus on what my passion is. And so I just got back into astrology and wanted to bridge the gap between that and astronomy. And yeah, and it kind of just took off from there. And then my clients or people really on Instagram that didn't really know me, and this was like during the pandemic and a little bit before, they just called me Urania. They assumed my name was Urania. And when I started hearing it, like myself referred to it, I was like, okay. So I was like sitting with it for a while. And then, you know, I had mentioned it to my mother and she was like, absolutely not. That's not the name your mother gave you. So then I sat on it a little bit longer, and it was probably like maybe 2 years later when I started having the like doing the dream work and the whole transformation happened. And it was all synced up with my astrology and everything as far as the timing. And it was just like, you can't make it up with the dreams and everything's connected. Like it's all connected. And yeah, so I'm like, after that, I was like, wow, dreams are, yeah, I'm not going to sleep on this. This is the real shadow work. This is where the true like accelerated healing happens, like through the dreams. So
it's
That's awesome.
interesting
I
because
love that.
Urania kind of like jump started my interest into astrology. Like I dabbled into it a little bit, but it wasn't until we started working together that I really became interested in like the cycles and the way that, you know, incorporating even just the moon into the moon cycle into your dreams and seeing like where the moon is, in what phase, in what sign, and how that affects like your dream space. It's very interesting. It's such an intriguing thing to include in your practice.
yeah, and
Yeah,
that's kind of how
cool.
I started out with dreams in general. Because pretty much at this point of my life, a lot of things I do are very like ritualistic, or I have like a routine of just my day, and I move through different habits and routines or practices. And so when I started doing the dream work, I had before that I had did like a 28-day like it was a exercise like group thing, but we synced it up with the 28 days, and I don't know, it just clicked. I'm like, dreams, moon, 28, you know. So I was like, okay, I'm going to just pay attention to my dreams for 28 days and just pay attention to symbols and everything. And I think that helped to really that helped me to recognize patterns and really sync it up with just like what's happening in my day to day. And it helped to just kind of like draw everything down to in like a practical way. Like it, for whatever reason, it was like drawing it down to earth. And I feel like the moon, I mean, it's like our first connection to like the sky essentially. And I don't know, it's like a filter or something, but just syncing it up with the moon helped everything kind of become more like cyclical and just, yeah, there's like a cycle and a rhythm to everything.
Yeah. Oh,
Yeah.
it's so beautiful. I kind of wish we had more time to talk to you guys now because I feel like we could
Yeah.
just talk on forever. So
Maybe there could be a part two.
maybe a part
Another
two.
time.
No, definitely. Absolutely. I don't know. Do you have a question, Biljana? I might have one brewing, but
Well, just on like the having the moon sign relating to your dreams, like can you talk more about that? Like your moon signs and then how you integrate that into your own, dream space and your life?
Yeah, so this is perfect. Alexis and I, we just did a couple months ago, we did 2 episodes, 2 parts on the moon sign and dreams. And essentially in astrology, the moon represents your, I mean, we know our emotions. The moon also has a correlation to water. And in that sense, there's memory. Memory is stored in water. So with the moon, there's an essence of memory. And then you also have the correspondence to family, ancestral roots. And that ancestral root can be, you know, as far as like your family line. And also I look at it as spiritually as well. And so with that, you are able to kind of get an idea of the memories of the past, also maybe your trauma, maybe, karma, so emotional attachments to things that have happened in the past that are coming back. And just from an astrological perspective, that your moon sign essentially like represents that. And so when we think about the dream space, and I guess I should also say the moon also corresponds to the subconscious. So when we're in our dream space, we are diving into that subconscious, and we're diving into the memories and the symbology, and that the quote unquote astral realm. And so your moon sign gives you an idea of basically how that's directly like personalized for you. And the way I look at astrology is that we chose the signs, like we chose this time to be born, where and on the day, right? And so when I, do readings with people, sometimes I'll prompt like, just think about, why would I choose this lineup? Like when I discuss everything in this reading, if you made this choice, why did you make this choice? So why would you give yourself, say, like Alexis, an Aquarius moon, or myself, a Capricorn moon, right? What does that say about your past? What does that say about your connection to family? Maybe more specifically, your mother or your nurturing parent. And then if you're doing the dream work, it's like, do some of those themes or some of those, occurrences happen in your dream? And, even if you don't have a direct relation, you can also just kind of see, like, compare and contrast as well. And then of course, paying attention to when the moon in transit comes around to your moon, right? Or there's like, dynamic connections being made to your moon, and how that influences your dream space. And so Alexis and I do that often, and we share with each other all the time. And, we'll also talk about it on the podcast, and we definitely point out, the moon phases and signs and stuff like that. So you can keep track of that easily.
Generally, like when we have so for my experience, when the moon each cycle hits Aquarius, which is my Aquarius, like I have an Aquarius moon, my dreams usually are more intense and really pull some of those themes that my moon being in Aquarius, specifically in the fourth house, which is like one of the lowest aspects of the chart. So it represents like family, and it's kind of like darker, deeper in that sense, but I have a lot of things come up in that realm. So like a little bit more rebellious, a little bit more eclectic, kind of weird. Things kind of feel very airy and out there, and I kind of have to pull down the pieces to interweave what this message is. And it also has a lot to do with struggles that I'm dealing with within my home life and within myself and within my emotions. Aquarius is a little detached, so I have a little bit of a difficult time with connecting with myself emotionally. So if I have, say, a full moon in Aquarius, that tends to really bring out, okay, here are the lessons that are coming through, and here they are in the most intense, like, here, push to the front, you need to acknowledge this way. And it's definitely eye-opening. It can be a lot.
Oh, it's really interesting. Yeah. Now I need to learn about astrology. Got to learn about numerology and astrology. That's like the two that I'm seeing that
it's
are
it's a whole lifelong study, I swear.
Do you know your moon sign? Because honestly, just knowing your big three to start, it's like an easy way to kind of integrate yourself into the cycles. If you understand your moon sign and its placement, and then you can kind of incorporate that with your dream work. Biljana, you said that you were actually looked like you were doing research into your astrology, and now you're learning it. Did you figure, like, what your moon sign is now, right?
Yeah, it's Aries.
Ooh,
nice.
I know a few Aries moons, and let me tell you, it's a fun placement. It's very Spitfire, but fun placement.
Yes.
So as somebody who knows very little about astrology other than, the horoscope signs, I would say, and knowing that I can go to I think it's astro.com, and you can, get the nice chart spread. that's very Greek to me because I don't understand, all the bits. So I could tell you my moon sign if I actually logged in, but I didn't prep for that for the podcast. But what's my question? My question is, so like for Biljana, her moon sign is Aries, and then yours, Alexis, is Aquarius. And then you were like, oh, well, when the full moon is in Aquarius. So is it like different months have different moon signs, or like how does that work, I guess is the question.
Yeah, so basically when you think about the sign that the sun is in, so we're in Taurus sign, the full moon always happens in the sign that is opposite of the sun sign, right? So it's that opposition. So our next full moon is going to be Scorpio. And so so basically the full moon changes sign every month. Right. So if you know where the sun is, like if say, oh, it's Taurus season, or it's like, Aries season, you can anticipate a Libra full moon if it's Aries season, because Libra is the opposite sign. And Taurus, you can anticipate a Scorpio full moon. So it changes every month. So once a month, you do have a different full moon sign. And
then
that
how
tends
do you
to
know, sorry, how do you know which one's opposite? Don't worry, Biljana will be back. She sometimes loses connection.
Okay. Oh, no worries. What was the question again? Sorry.
The question was, how do you know, I mean, maybe you look this up, but somebody who doesn't know, how do you know which is the opposite sign?
I think it's something you just learn over time.
Okay.
So you'll just start to, like, once you dig into astrology and once you start paying attention to the moon signs and like the new and full moons, I think the new and full moons is a great place for where people start, because the new moon is setting intentions. The full moon is kind of the manifestation or the full illumination around that intention. Essentially, it's when everything comes into, I guess, full power, like fully manifested. And so, I think once you start paying attention to that, you'll just know how it flows. But it's always going to go Aries toward, it's always going to go in the quote unquote zodiacal order. So it starts at Aries, the very first sign of the zodiac, and then it'll go all the way to Pisces. And so once you start paying attention, it's really easy to pick it up, because I mean, there's so many people talking about astrology, and it's nice because there's not actually a lot of people where I've been looking that talk about dreams and astrology. So that kind of bridge that. And so it's really exciting to integrate them. I think people really enjoy that.
When you look at a wheel, so the wheel of the chart, it's going to have all of the signs in that circle. So whatever's opposite of each sign, that's the opposing, that's the opposite. So like Aries is exact opposite to Libra, Taurus is exact opposite to Scorpio, and so on and so forth. So if you look at the chart, if you look at the actual chart and you just see that, you just trace it, and you'll probably pick it up in no time.
Yeah. Cool. Very cool.
Got my chart here.
Oh, sorry.
I'm just like looking at it, like these are all my notes for.
Oh, nice.
Love that.
It's frozen on my end. Is it okay on your guys' end?
Yeah, I saw it was like the will.
Yeah.
The birth chart.
Yeah, your whole birth chart. I love it.
Yeah, I've just got notes everywhere, because just from different people I've listened to and a reading that I've had, she was really good. And so she just laid it out really simple, and she pretty much knew who I was, and so I'm like, oh, this is intriguing. So
it is.
It's really taking notes, and
and the more that you stare at it, the more it'll just I think it just unlocks for you. So it's it might look, like you said, Sarah, it might look Greek, it might look foreign at first, but just looking at it often, it'll start. And then of course, if you're doing other things like researching and studying or hearing people talk about it, it'll start to click and make sense. And that's kind of how I got into astrology, was literally the hieroglyphs. I love the symbols. I've always loved the symbols. I started drawing them, and then that's kind of what led me into learning more about astrology. And so it unlocked the information the more that I stared at it and wrote things. And so it's a whole thing.
The symbols is learning sorry.
Oh, sorry. I was just going to say, we're going to continue to do astrology episodes. We already have a couple different episodes that kind of go into, what you might. So the most recent one we did was the asteroid Chiron and how that affects your dreams when it aspects your wherever. Was it moon? Was it the moon sign that we talked about?
Yeah, when the moon comes around.
Yeah. Mm-hmm. So we have a few of those episodes already up if you want to check them out, just to give you like a basic basis around it. But keep up, because we love doing the astrology episodes, and we're absolutely going to continue. I mean, we've done one, the Pluto is a dream planet, a dark dream planet nonetheless, but a dream planet, and we go into that, and we'll be looking at more down the line too.
Fantastic. Well, we're definitely going to have everything in the show notes so our audience members can check out all your awesome episodes. And I definitely will be doing my research and sending questions your way, most likely, if I have them. Biljana, you're having problems today. More problems than normal.
Yes. And I'm like, my battery's going flat. And I was like, what's going on?
I've had those days, and they always come up and surprise me. And it's always not one thing, but many.
Yep. Like at the moment, my Zoom, I can't see any of you guys, just black screens. I can see myself.
Yeah. Wow. I guess it's good I'm doing the recording. But you keep freezing a little bit too, but that's okay. The episode will be what it's meant to be, and it'll still go up, and those who need to hear it will hear it. I do have a question. I don't know if this was you, Alexis, or Urania, who was talking. You mentioned about the moon being related. I think it was you, Urania, actually, being related to the astral realm. And so my question, when I hear the term astral, I think astral traveling. But for me, astral traveling is a little bit different than just dream realm or just, the dream space in and of itself, because we had an episode, we interviewed Rebecca Barron, and she talked about how dreams are the way for your heart to communicate with yourself. And then for myself, the astral traveling, it's still dreaming, but you're like, it's almost like an out-of-body experience. Like you're going literally to another realm as opposed to just having sort of this internal conversation. Now, what's my question? I guess my question is, when you say astral realm, do you mean astral travel, or what exactly do you mean about the astral realm? Or is it just dream space?
So when I said it in that moment, as far as the moon, so when I say astral, the astral realm, this is a tricky one because it definitely is an umbrella term. And I know what you mean as far as like the astral, like when you're in a dream, it could be, or like you can astral travel, but then you can also like astral project, right? And so when I say the term astral realm in that sense, it's like I would say all of the dream space.
Okay.
Specifically, of course, in dreams, like when I think about astral traveling, I think about going into like you're traveling in spirit. It might not necessarily, it's like your astral body that's traveling to different places. So it's not just one place, it's many places. So I think that's how I think that it's just many places within that. It's kind of like that first realm of like you're out of the body, right? Or when people transition, I also think about this too, when they're very, very close, they're in the astral, right? So it's that kind of that first layer or plane of consciousness before you are like in the physical reality. So as soon as you slip out of that body, out of the physical reality, you're in the astral plane, and then who knows, you could go on to other places beyond that, and that's a whole nother conversation. So I would say it's kind of like a grouped in term of like dream space in general, and then you have the different like layers of it. I know Alexis, you have some thoughts about that.
You definitely, I'm sure all of you have experienced, or I'm assuming all of you have experienced, the difference when you're astral traveling within the unconscious versus just being in a dream. It feels completely different. It's just like, interacting with dream people versus interacting with something outside of the dream space. It feels different. It's a whole different experience. You can't really explain it to people who don't experience it. I find that it's very difficult. Like you just have to be there, and you have to know, like, when you're traveling, what feels multidimensional, what feels like skipping like going through different timelines, or what feels like being outside of yourself versus being here inside of your unconscious. Like it's I completely understand and agree with both of you with that. It's a very interesting experience, and it's definitely something that it's hard to explain.
No, definitely. But the fact that you're saying how difficult it is to explain, and I'm just like, yeah, it's really hard, but it's amazing to experience it though as well. And I like really welcome the out of body experience, so to say, or the astral out, the next layer beyond the physical, I guess.
Yeah.
I think it's a little like it's hard to differentiate astral traveling versus astral projection. But I feel like astral projection is more so like out of the body in your area, like, you know, separating yourself and going outside, versus astral traveling is elsewhere. But it really is just, I mean, Urania and I message each other about our dreams often, and you know, we'll go, I definitely astral traveled in this dream. I was definitely somewhere else. Like
you're in another realm.
I was in a different place, another realm, another time period, whatever it may be. I definitely was there. So it's definitely a hard thing to explain to people who haven't experienced it yet.
I appreciate that definition or distinction between the astral projection versus the astral travel, because I always thought it was astral travel, but the moment you said that the projection is kind of like going outside, just kind of in your environment, that like resonated so much, because one of the experiences I had recently was a flying dream, and it was amazing. But I was like flying through like the local city and going super fast, touching buildings on my way. It didn't hurt, of course, because you're just in spirit form. And I got so excited, I started to do somersaults. And then it was like, boom, and I lost it, and I got put back in my body because I got so excited.
Yeah, no, I had a recent experience too with astral projection, where, you're just going so fast. Like, I haven't ever experienced that. I feel in that capacity. I don't know what that was about, but yeah, it was like really, like, it was almost like I was hovering but flying, and it was just like, I think it was part of the dream where it was really hard for me to control myself. I think that was a part of the message. But yeah, no, there's definitely a difference of just waking up in your local space and then like dreaming, but beyond like the dream space. So that's what I'm saying. There's different layers of it, because you have that local space where it's like your home or your neighborhood or your city, and then you have like the dream, which, where's that, like the regular type dreams, and then you have the ones like Alexis was saying, it's like, yeah, I was gone, I was in another dimension, another realm, and so that was a whole thing, you know. So it's interesting to think about, you know, the different layers, or just parts of the dream space, the dreaming world.
Yeah, absolutely. Have either one of you ever gone through an actual portal in your dream?
Oh yeah.
Yeah, like literally, like you see this like portal and you like go through.
They come through in different ways. Sometimes their doors open. Sometimes they're like, I think it was you, Urania, when you had the dream with the three mystics. The
it was in between up. Like a building.
Like, it has come through in different ways. I've definitely had ones where I've walked through mirror portals. So absolutely, and
bodies of water.
It's fantastic. It is such a cool experience, and you know, you can feel the shift in, you know, the temperature and the energy and the sense and what's around you. It's definitely just like the coolest experience.
No, I definitely resonate with that. The reason why I asked about the portal is there was once I didn't feel like I had control. I felt like I was being kind of pulled, which is a whole other different conversation we could have about being pulled to different areas, not by, you know, yourself. But in this particular one, I was pulled through a portal, and I actually like nicked my shin on like the edge of it. And it was like actually painful. And I actually felt the pain like on my physical body. I didn't have a bruise, luckily, when I woke up, but I actually felt the pain from like nicking my my leg. And it was funny because in my waking life, I can be quite clumsy. And so when I was telling my fiance about this dream, he's like, only you could like hit your knee or your leg on a portal as you're dreaming, you know?
That's
I
so
almost feel like that was
interesting.
a way for you to kind of connect yourself to your physical self almost. Like you're
Yeah.
being pulled. So there's this aspect of you that kind of was
Like,
grounding.
nope. Yeah. Or
Oh,
try to get control of that too. It's like, actually, no. Like, I'm coming
No, I don't want to go. Thank you.
back. Right? Just
like, no,
kidding.
you're going.
Right.
No, it's
I've,
interesting.
I've definitely had dreams where I've been pulled like that. So that definitely is another conversation. But yeah, I totally understand that.
Yeah, absolutely. Biljana, are you back with us, or I see you've been popping in and out?
Uh, can you hear me at all?
We can hear
Yeah,
you.
yeah.
We can't
Yeah,
see you,
cool.
Yeah.
but
All
we
right,
can
cool.
hear you.
Yeah. Yes, I don't know what's going on. My internet seems to be fine, but I don't know.
Hmm.
It hasn't happened for a long time. But
Yeah, I take it as a sign that this conversation is a very important conversation.
I was like,
Right.
is it our fault?
It's not your
Right.
fault.
The
No,
energies
not
are
at
High
too
all.
much.
energy. Tone
Oh,
down the energy.
and everybody get a
yes.
grounding rock.
Yes.
Right?
And it was funny. I was looking. I don't know if you saw me like looking around earlier in the episode, but I can't. Oh, there! I found it. I have a grounding rock. Oh, and I dropped it.
I got some tourmaline. Nice.
I don't know what this is, but I felt called to grab it, so I have it.
Nice.
Perfect. It's so funny. We're just all grabbing our crystals. Oh, there we go. Okay. Well, the rock that I was looking for, it didn't want to be found. And then I picked it up and it like flew out of my hand. I'm like, okay, maybe I'm not meant to hold that one. So now I have
Nope.
whatever this one is.
Nice.
I think it's just a piece of some sort of like a quartz, but like a dark quartz or something. It's some
Okay.
kind of stone.
It's kind of like
But
it's not
I was
obsidian. It
gonna
was
say
like
it looks
it was like
glassy.
reflective,
Yeah.
like it. Yeah.
yeah, it's definitely like it's
Yeah.
from a stone, like somewhere that sells stone countertops. So it's like whatever black stone. So
Oh,
Oh,
gotcha.
like
Yeah.
marble.
Yeah.
yeah, I don't think it's marble. I'll ask my fiance afterwards because he works there, so he knows. Anyway,
Oh, nice.
Biljana, you're back. See, we all grounded ourselves,
Nice.
and now Biljana is like
Yeah.
here. Wow, isn't that interesting?
That is really interesting. Wow.
Yeah.
We're
Yeah.
too
I was
electrifying.
I was going to ask, you guys run a dream circle and you also do like your live streams. So you want to talk about a little bit about that?
Yeah. Alexis, you want to pick one? You
Oh,
want to
yeah,
start?
sure. So once a month, the first Tuesday of every month, we do a dream circle. So it's a $10 flat fee, and it is a wonderful experience for people. It's an opportunity for people to come and talk about their dreams, talk about astral travel or projection or mysticism, ask questions, get help with interpretation, just have a cozy cup of tea or coffee and hang out with us. But it's the first Tuesday of every month, and we're actually going to be doing it next week. And I believe the date is May 6th.
Yep. Mm-hmm.
May 6th. Yeah.
Yeah.
But yeah, it's a great community get together. Just a bunch of dreamers talking about dreams.
Yeah. And then our podcast. So we just live stream our podcast and then we like edit it somewhat and put it on Spotify. But on YouTube, it's definitely just like the raw cut there. And that's just kind of how we started. It felt natural because as I mentioned, I was just going on Instagram and I would do an Instagram live and I would invite people to come on camera and just share their dreams or share about the topic I was talking about. And like Alexis was the one that was always available and showing up. So it just naturally happened. And so then we took it to YouTube and we just started doing it there. And then we're like, oh, this can be a podcast. So we just kind of kept the flow going of like having it be a live stream because we like, people would show up and they show up and engage with us. And so we get questions on demand and we get to also hear about people's dream space, how they feel about the topic. And so it's like, it kind of opens the space, which is what we were already used to. And so we're just like, we're going to go with the raw, organic kind of flow. I think that works best.
We're
Yeah.
very excited for this week's topic.
Oh yeah, what's
Yeah.
this week's topic? Do we get to have a teaser?
Yes, we're going to be talking about deja vu and how it might be a connection to precognitive dreams.
Interesting.
Yeah.
Biljana, how does that resonate with you? I know you talk a lot about, or you have a lot of experiences with deja vu.
Yeah.
Yes, I feel like every week, like there's something, something I felt like so familiar, not just like a familiar place, or like you've met them before, like a year ago. I feel like it's something I've lived.
Mm-hmm.
Wow. Yeah.
And we love
Yeah,
Sarah
and that's
again.
exactly like, oh no, I love deja vu. I feel like Urania and I both get it quite often. And I've recently had the discovery that my deja vus are absolutely linked to dreams I've had prior. I don't understand why. But you can predict like the next couple seconds that are going to happen, and then it kind of goes away. But I think about how this has been affecting me my entire life, and I think back to when I was a kid and how I would have deja vus, and I would not necessarily know the link was to my dream space, but I was so involved in my dream space that it just makes sense now looking back at it and having the experiences now. And it's so cool. It's so weird. Life is weird. We have these weird little things intertwined in it's fun. So we're going to do a little bit of a deep dive and talk about how our dreams, might be affecting or causing deja vu.
Yeah. And see what the science says about it. So
did you say the signs or the science?
The science.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, the research on that.
Sweet. Well, I can't wait for that episode.
And
I'm sure Biljana, if she would stay on the call, she can't wait for it either.
Well, if you guys join, feel free to, send in a message. Let us know you're there. Participate in the conversation. We love the community aspect of our live streams, and we really want to know what's going on with you guys and how you relate.
Sorry, you broke up there that last bit, Alexis.
Oh no, I'm sorry.
Not your fault.
I just was saying that feel free to feel free to join in the conversation. We love the community aspect of live streaming. We want to know what's going on, how your dream space has been, how you relate to the conversation. So if you're there Wednesday at 9 p.m. Eastern time, feel free to join in.
Oh, absolutely. I think 9 p.m. is a little bit late for Biljana, but I definitely can be there. And at the very least, you guys just record the live stream so they do become available later.
You can watch it after it. Yep. And listen
to it. And
you
can still
Spotify
participate
too.
In the comments in Spotify and YouTube.
Perfect. Oh, that's great. Well, we're slowly getting to top of the hour. One of the things that Biljana and I like to ask our guests, and we have two of you, so this is exciting, is just, do you have anything on your heart that you would like people to know, dreamers to know, those who are new to the dream space, about dreams, about astrology, anything? Like, just speak from the heart, and we'll go from there.
So dreaming is such a important aspect to our existence, and one of the things that I like to mention to people, sometimes things come through, you start to face some traumas. You start to go through some really difficult aspects within the dream space, within the unconscious. So I really want people to be patient with themselves, kind with themselves. If you don't have a therapist, talk to a friend about your dreams, or, reach out to a dream worker, because some of these experiences can be really intense and you might need a hand to hold through it. And I've been there where my dreams have been so overwhelming, and I've been going through experiences that I had had in the past that deeply, deeply hurt me and affected me. So I just want people to know that we are here for you, and take advantage of that aspect just so you have a little bit of support if you feel you need it. Everybody's different, but that's something I like to keep in mind when we go into dream work. It's like, it can be a little intense.
Absolutely. Oh, thank you so much for just being here and sharing what's on your heart when it comes to dreams. Urania, do you have something on your heart?
Yeah, I second that. It's definitely important to have that support, even if it's one other person, even, it could start with just even a journal.
Yeah.
And I would say, as someone who I primarily used to have anxious dreams, and I definitely have waves of that at times. Stick with it, and if you can, it's really hard, but if you write it down, because I know for me, when I would have nightmares or really intense anxious dreams, it was hard for me to write it. And it's like there's a level of avoidance, and it's like you're still keeping it, and it's inside, and everything's trying to like come out and be released and observed and witnessed. And so just by writing it out, that will help you to really overcome, like you're literally facing it on, right? By seeing it, or maybe just sharing it with someone, especially someone who knows a lot about dreams and can support you and kind of walk you through the unfolding of the dream and what it can mean, or just holding space and letting you know that everything's okay. But just really sticking with it, because I know a lot of people, those are the dreams, or those are the things that keep people away from dream work, which, because that's what, kind of led me to dreams, was avoidance of literally facing an important person that I lost in my life when I was younger. And so but once you face it, once you do the dream work and you're consistent with it, the healing and the empowerment that comes from that, the courage, the confidence, is like nothing else, because it's like you're connecting directly with your most intimate self, your inner guide. Like no one knows you more than, your subconscious, and that speaks to you through dreams, and all the guidance is there for you. And so it can be really hard at first. And at other times you might get a wave. I had a wave recently where it was really, really hard. But when I had it recently, it was like I woke up inspired from a nightmare that was like astral projection, out of control, anxious nightmare. And I woke up and I knew exactly what to do. And I was really inspired, even though I was still freaked out by the dream. So just stick with it. Like Alexis said, have grace, compassion, and patience with yourself, and just have someone to talk to if you can.
Oh, beautiful. So well said. And essentially, what resonates with me from what you both have kind of said is, if you take control of your dreams, you can take control of your life.
100%.
Yes.
How I like to sum that up.
I love that.
Biljana, do you have, I know that you've been in and out, but, I want you to be included in the conversation. Do you have anything on your heart, Biljana?
I just want to say thank you to the three of you. Yeah, Sarah's obviously here with me every week, but the three of you just sharing everything that's on your heart and have the opportunity to like learn. I'm really thankful to be able to learn from everyone that comes on here, every conversation, and such beautiful people, you three. So thank you for everything. And unfortunately, the internet was a bit bad today, so but I'm still glad that you guys still shared, and I'll go back and listen to the bits that I missed, and keep on dreaming, as Sarah always says.
Thank you, Biljana. Alexis and Urania, I think we have where to reach you guys, but do you just want to let our listeners know how they can reach you, and then we'll close out the episode?
Yeah, so we're on Instagram, YouTube, and Spotify, Journey Through the Innerverse. And yeah, so you can find us on those platforms.
Wonderful. Awesome. Well, I echo what Biljana said. Thank you, Urania. Thank you, Alexis. This is just the beginning of the conversations that we will have. I know that we'll have definitely more episodes together in the future, and if not, definitely conversations offline or live in the live chats. We'll see where that goes. I'm excited to learn about astrology. Wow. It's like astrology, which is not really a thing.
Nice.
And most importantly, thank you to all of our listeners and our subscribers, all of our supporters. These episodes don't really happen without the momentum and support of all of you, and we greatly appreciate each and every one of you. If you'd like to be a guest on our podcast, or if you have a topic you'd like to hear us discuss, or even somebody you'd like to see us talk to, please just reach out to us. You can reach out to us through our website, dreamoracleforyou.com. That is the number 4 and the letter U. And also, we also have a platform in which you can share and talk about dreams, and that's called the Dream Portal, which you can also check out through our website. And with that, everyone, thank you again for listening. Thank you, Urania. Thank you, Alexis, for being here. And everyone, you're welcome. And everyone, please keep on dreaming.